Khorne is a very unsubtle chaos god. This is not surprising. He's the blood god, the lord of skulls, and a very angry boy who sits upon his skull throne, watching the endless war occurring day to day in the 41st millennium with the same temperament as a sports fan when the bar closes. He's probably the simplest chaos god to understand, where other chaos gods have ulterior motives and schemes to a degree. Khorne has none of that. He wants blood, he wants skulls. If you give him blood and skulls, he is a happy boy and will bestow you with special abilities and weapons. If you fail him, he will then take your skull instead. In a weirdly roundabout way, he's probably the most honest chaos god, because you don't need to worry about him stabbing you in the back, just about him turning your face into paste. Khorne values strength of character and skill over anything else. He doesn't see war as an art form, just as an opportunity to prove that you are the best. His relationships with the other Chaos Gods are a bit interesting, because while he gets along with Nurgle fine, he doesn't like magic at all, putting him at odds with Tzeentch as he sees it as little more than a waste of time and that real fighting skill doesn't come from magic. But he absolutely despises Slaanesh, to the point where Slaanesh and Khorne have been at war for each other since I think Slaanesh was birthed. If you want to hear more about what my thoughts are on Slaanesh, go look at my Slaanesh video. But the short version is, Slaanesh is basically being a pretentious dweeb that's overcomplicating things in the eyes of Khorne. He's basically just standing there on the sidelines yelling at Slaanesh to just kill the guy instead of, doing what Slaanesh does on a daily basis. And it also doesn't help that they tend to compete over the same type of champions, as they both value combatants who are very, very skilled. I mean, the best example of this is the difference between Lucius and Khorne. While Lucius is a pretentious dweeb who's incredibly ambitious and seeing swordsmanship as an art, Khorne is screaming and cutting things apart with his chain axe like it's paper. Another difference between Khorne and the other Chaos Gods is that he's not as scary. If the 40k Chaos Gods represented a different demon archetype in fiction, I would say Khorne fits more comfortably into the same type of style of demons that the Doom games have, where they're just killing machines and nothing more. Khorne also has a more traditional fire and brimstone hell aesthetic that ties really well into his overall motif, and I actually quite like it. That isn't to say, of course, that Khorne can't be scary. He can be. I mean, their main frontline poster boy unit, the Khorne Berserker, is absolutely terrifying when you really break it down. Well, yes, they can be seen as just melee guys running around with chain axes. The mind of the people committing these actions has to be so broken and twisted where they can be barely recognized as human. Most Khorne Berserkers belong to the World Eaters, Khorne's chosen Chaos Space Marine Legion, with most warbands having some Khorne Berserkers in their ranks as long as they aren't devoted to a specific Chaos God. A Chaos Space Marine is already terrifying, but Khorne Berserkers are the most devoted and insane of his followers, and this insanity can come with a trance-like bloodlust-induced rage, resulting in the massacre of hundreds, if not thousands, in the span of hours, only for that Berserker to wake up, not remember that it happened, and continue to do this all in the service of a god that would be just as happy to see that same Berserker die as he would win. That is a level of discomfort that I don't even want to think about. Easily the most famous of the Khorne Berserkers has to be Khorne the Betrayer, a personal favorite character of mine in the entire Warhammer setting, and he is completely insane. He got the name the Betrayer during a fight with the Emperor's children, where the weather conditions on the planet got so bad that both sides decided to stop fighting and take shelter. This angered Khorne, and he began to kill his comrades with a flamer because he was not going to accept any reason to stop fighting. That is the level of maniacal bloodlust we are dealing with here. There are also various cults devoted to Khorne as well, with the death cult in particular being a problem and perform group activities that I can't really talk about on YouTube. These guys might scare me more than Khorne Berserkers, because a Khorne Berserker is a super soldier. That's kind of a rung above, and they don't really seem human. But these cultists are just people who are crazy, and the fact that someone like me can act like that is disturbing, to say the least. Khorne also has various demons devoted to him, with the Bloodthirster being probably the most famous. A Bloodthirster is basically one rung below Khorne. They're the physical manifestation of what Khorne believes and desires, and when one shows up, you're going to have a really bad time, and they're also quite scary. Bloodletters, Fleshhounds, and Juggernauts all serve their roles as Khornate infantry, with Bloodletters being infantry, and Juggernauts being mounts, as well as Fleshhounds being basically Khornate attack dogs. They're cannon fodder, but quite effective cannon fodder. but easily Khorne's most famous devotee is the demon Primarch Angron, who is Khorne's chosen champion, and as of 10th edition, he is back within the setting and is probably going to play a major role in the storyline as it progresses. Angron is easily one of my favorite Primarchs, and is an extremely fascinating and well-written character. So well-written and portrayed, in fact, that I'm going to make a video entirely about him. Khorne as a whole, while can be seen as a bit of a bog-standard demon archetype, has more going on under the hood and has a good balance overall of the over-the-top action and genuine horror. He's been my second favorite Chaos God for a long time, and I really enjoy reading or seeing anything that has to do with him. For reading recommendations, I would say the old Liber Chaotica art books are good. They're hard to track down, but the Khorne one in particular is quite good. The Chaos Space Marines 3rd edition and 3.5 edition codexes are great as well, with some fantastic art to boot. The Disciples of the Dark Gods Dark Heresy book is also really good. They have a few tidbit lore pieces that really flesh out various different Chaos Gods, and Khorne has a couple things in there that are quite unsettling. Unsettling to the point that I didn't even want to put them in this video because of how much they bother me. Lastly, Khorne, Eater of Worlds, and Betrayer are both fantastic novels about the World Eaters, Khorne the Betrayer, and Angron. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great night.
Blood for the Blood God! Blood for the Blood God! Blood for the Blood God!